A very good morning, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing fine this morning. Today is 17th March, and let's see what we have got in the Hindu today. I have a very important positive start for all of us. It's coming from Helen Keller. Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. And this statement is very important today because we are fighting against this disease called TB. This is a very beautiful article that we find in today's newspaper, or today is the Hindu's editorial page, and today is Saturday, so you have only one page. There you find one more page, this big article. You can go through it. It's particularly talking about this state of Karnataka and how mining and things are going on over there. So it's up to you guys. If you are from Karnataka, then, and if you are preparing for civil services, your state civil services, then I will recommend you guys to go through it. Other students, you can have a quick glance over it, right? But this article that you can see on your screen, this TB article, is the most important article. Many MCQs can be formed from this article. I have a couple of examples for you guys here. This article is educating us how we can get rid of this disease TB, what are important things that we need to follow, and for your mains examination as well, it has got some important facts and figures that you can add here and there, and you know it. I believe you'd be aware about this thing, that every year you find at least one question pertaining to public health as well. This is part of your syllabus too, so very important article, this one. Then we have another one. This is about Salisbury's attack, this spy attack, Russia versus UK thing. I think a day before yesterday this was in a news item. I provided you a picture as well at that point of time. I have that picture for you guys here just to refresh your memory a little bit. This one is a pure political article. A quick glance over this article will be more than enough. I will leave it on you guys to go through it. And then you have this article again. It is talking about Russia and USA and how Russia has whether Russia has funded elections and whether Russia is behind all the things that are going on in USA. You know, this recent sacking of Rex Tillerson and other things, but basically it is talking about how this media reports on this Mr. Trump having close ties with Putin and things like that, how it is undermining this democratic process in USA. I'll give you a gist of this article, right? And of course we are going to focus this one on this one, and then we will talk about this one. So basically very easy day in terms of your reading material, right? You have two important articles, and this, both of them, you can have a quick glance. So let's move on, dear friends, and this is my Facebook page here. You can follow me, you can contact me, and you can download all my lectures, right? PDF of all my lectures on regular basis from my Facebook page. So if you are wondering from where you can get this PDF of this The Hindu Analysis, then here is my page. With this, StudyIQ provides pen drive and tablet courses for various different exams. You can see on your screen we cover UPSC, this all static subjects, and we cover this optional courses as well, defense exam courses, SSC and bank courses, state level exams, KVS and CLAT exams, and also your prelims are not far, so we have got test series out there for you. This test series will help you not only in practice, but many questions that you find are very important. There are high chances that you may find similar questions in your UPSC upcoming prelim. So make sure you check out StudyIQ.com, and let's move on with this article. Now I have added a bit of extra research. There is nothing called extra. When I say extra, I mean to say I have stepped out of this article that we find in the Hindu about TB a couple of days ago, right, on 13 to be precise, on 13th March, right, we had this End TB Summit. Remember, I provided you a picture as well. It was an advert from government on the last page of the Hindu. So this End TB Summit took place in New Delhi. Prime Minister inaugurated this summit, and basically he motivated everyone, and he talked about this End TB Summit and our mission to end TB, right? Complete elimination of TB from our country. Of course, most of the people who are affected by the TB, one common thing that you find in most of them, generally speaking, is they are coming from a very poor background. There are multiple reasons behind why you get TB. One of them is lack of nutrition as well. As far as I know, yes, this is one of the reasons, right? If you are not taking proper food, balanced diet, then there are high chances that you may get infected by TB. If someone is carrying it, then there are high chances that you will get affected by it. Now, very important for you guys to remember in terms of MCQ, in terms of your mains examination as well, and overall understanding. See, 2025 is the target that has been set by our country, by India, government of India, that we will eliminate TB from our country by 2025. The global target date is 2030. So you can remember, we have, not remember, but you can imagine that we have set a very high target, right? A very hard target, if I can say so. And 2025 means it's not something that is not achievable, but today's article is pointing out some important things, and it will basically, if we'll go through it, then we'll find that of course it's a good thing, right? If we are ready to work very aggressively on this TB and elimination of TB, then this 2025 is a good thing. But there are many things that we have to do, but it's a good move, no doubt. And the Prime Minister said during this End TB summit that he has wrote to all state governments, because again, health is something that is in the hands of the state governments, right? It falls in the domain of state government. So he has wrote personally, he has written letters, right, to this chief ministers of different states to brace themselves and to start or to do whatever they can, right? All the necessary steps should be taken so that we can get rid of this TB. Now, he also talked about this frontline TB physicians as well as workers. They are, of course, no doubt, important part of elimination of TB. And when I was talking about this, when we started our discussion with this positive statement that together we can do many things, right? It's not just frontline TB physicians and workers. Together, every one of us can play a very important role, right? Like, say, for example, patients who have already stepped out, or if they have managed to win over or surmount this disease of TB, they can inspire other people as well, and they can become a live story for other people, so that other people who are on course, they can make sure that they are following medicines. Now, 24th March, which is not far from where we are standing at present, is World Tuberculosis Day. We will find some more article on this thing, and I'm sure as we'll go through this whole article, you will come to know that why this particular disease is a big public health issue in our country. And there are high chances that you may find a straight question from, like a direct question from this topic or from TB. So you might have seen this advertisement of Amitabh Bachchan, fight against TB, or India versus TB, and you know this tagline, TB harega, desh jeetega. Basically, TB will be eliminated and our India will be triumphant against this battle against TB. So here you have some basic things. Complete course is very much necessary. It does not spread through touch or by shaking hands, and it is basically like every other disease, right? It is about being friend with these patients, right? There is no point in discriminating them. If you discriminate them, then what happens is that you're basically creating a wall around them, and because of this fortification, or this, when you create this fort around them, they are not having access, or this access to medicine will be cut off, and then this disease will spread. So it is better to be friend with all these patients and create awareness and other things. Now, having said all this background thing, let's move on to this article that is talking about how we can eliminate TB in our country. Now, in science, you have some words, right? They assign some quantifiable words, and here you find a word called incidence. So in epidemiology, incidence basically means new cases per unit population per unit time. I hope this is clear to you. Per new cases per unit population. So, like, say, for example, if we take 1 lakh population, a sample of 1 lakh population, so incidence will be how many new cases we find in this 1 lakh population in a given amount of time, maybe per day or per year, etc. So this incidence rate of TB in our country is estimated at 200 to 300 cases per 1 lakh population per year. And if we compare this rate with European standard or Western European rates, then they have just 5 per 1 lakh. So you can imagine that TB is a big thing in our country. Then you have one more term, and it is very important to understand, and this is the reason why I am explaining it to you guys here. You find it in today's article, this one. This is a control. This control basically means deliberate reduction of incidence to a desired and defined level by specific intervention. I hope this is very simple to understand and clear, right? What are the steps that we are taking, and these steps should produce some results. So that's what you call control as far as public health is concerned. Now look at these figures. This will help you very much with your mains examination if you want to argue that why TB is a big thing. So I can say that TB is the biggest killer, right? And most of you will agree with it as well, because I am saying it. But if you are writing your answer, then you have to prove, you have to provide some data. I'm not saying that in a 200-word answer you have to add all these things, but just 1 or 2 things are more than enough, or maybe 1 point. Many a times it is about art. There are no fixed rules here. It is more about art and science of writing good answer, and you can learn it by practice, right? It's not something that everyone has. You can of course hone your skills by good practice and by good understanding. So India's estimated annual TB burden is 28 lakh, right? Annually we have what? 28 lakh people getting this TB. 27% of global TB population is here in our country. Our global population, normal global population is 18%, but when it comes to TB, 27% of cases you find it in our country. So we are talking about what? Nearly 27%, so nearly 1/4 of world's TB patients are living here in our country. Every single day, this is the 3rd time we are talking about this thing, every single day you see 1200 Indians that die because of TB, and see this horrific rate. Every 3 minutes you find 10 people losing their lives. So you can see easily 1200 families are destroying every single day. And you also find that many of other people, right, many other families or family members would be getting this disease, and this is spreading very badly, and no doubt it is termed as the biggest calamity, or Himalayan calamity, having this Himalayan magnitude. So these are the points that prove that TB is a big thing, very important for your mains examination. Now, some MCQ thingy here, right? Infection with TB bacilli is the necessary cause of TB. How TB is means what causes this TB disease. So this one is the thing, TB bacilli. Many times, like disease related, again, public health disease related questions you find every year, at least one question in your pre-examination. So keep this thing in mind, bacilli. The other thing is the biggest problem, like now we are talking about understanding, the biggest problem with this TB bacilli or this TB disease is that for a couple of weeks, maybe 2 weeks, right, if you are consistently coughing for 2 weeks, then doctor will give you, or then he will opt for this, he or she will opt for you to check or go through this TB screening, or take a test through which they can ensure whether you are affected with TB or not. So in this 2 weeks time, right, this are crucial days, and by this is a very cheating disease, you can say. It even confuses doctors, and this delaying in diagnosis is one of the biggest cause that we have. So this is something that we need to change. Now again, for your MCQ, TB can affect, remember, your lungs. If you are given a list, say for example, like identify the options, identify the right option. Say for example, you will be given with like different organs, like 1, 2, 3, and then you have to choose. You have this A, B, C option. I hope you know this type of questions, right? So remember, TB can affect your lungs, your brain, your bones. Many people have this brain TB. Then bones, joints, your liver, your intestines, then you have this other organs as well. And as far as female infertility is concerned in India, the biggest or the commonest cause is pelvic TB. So remember this thing, right? You find TB, it can spread in any organ, right, in our country. beg your pardon, in our body, right? So in designing TB control, 3 processes must be understood. There are 3 things that we have to design: infection, how to control infection, progression, and transmission. These are the 3 things on which we have to work. Only then we can control this TB. Now, the annual rate of TB infection, that is known as ARTI. Remember, again, important for your MCQ. There are many things, as I told you, that are high chances that you may ask a full form of ARTI, or you have to match the following. Maybe ARTI stands for annual rate of TB infection. Is about 1%. Cumulatively, 40 to 70% of us are living with latent TB. Remember, latent TB is something that is in us, but it has not got activated yet. But when it comes to your lungs, when this latent TB thing, when this disease, this bacteria, this bacilli, right, when it enters your lungs, at that point of time, it will start spreading and will become a bit active. So then you have this active TB. So you can imagine that 40 to 70% of us, roughly speaking, in our country may have this latent TB as per this article. So how we can fight this thing, how we can control it? Of course, we have to work together. We have to stick together. We have to go through all the schools. All our kids should be tested, whether if they are having latent TB, then necessary drugs can be given to them. The course will go on for a couple of months or maybe years, but we have to do this thing, or else it will just take that opportunity or that point from where your latent TB will get converted into active TB, and then your life goes into a big dark tunnel. Then you have this public education. People can spread education, right? We all can do this. We all can play this role here, because we all are using this social networking sites, isn't it? 24th March is this TB day. So how about from today we can celebrate this all the days that we have, right? We can do this thing. We can at least post some things, maybe in our social networking, maybe in our WhatsApp status or something. We can, right, that TB is this way, how we can control it, and things like that. Now, biggest problem that we have in our country, and I'm sorry to say this thing, I'm sure you are aware about this thing, that public spitting. We are known as a country of, people of our country, we like to spit here and there, and this is a big behavioral change that will be required. The other thing is, many people I have observed, I'm sure you might have observed, many people, they don't have this cough and sneeze etiquettes, and this is again a biggest thing, or you can say a method or a tool that is spreading TB in our country. A person with this lung TB disseminates TB bacilli over several weeks. This is the point that we were talking about, that for a couple of days, for a couple of, as soon as you get infected with this thing, when it is active in your body, then this is the time, this 10-15 days that we have, this is the time where something should be done. Only then we can control it, or else by time this is detected, it has already transmitted to other people as well. So this is the thing, and until and unless we don't control this thing, we won't be able to fight this TB disease. Then you have this RN, Revised National TB Control Program Guidelines, and this one is talking about testing people after 2 weeks. So we are losing crucial time here. We need to revise this thing. Then partnership with private sector is necessary, because roughly speaking 70% of patients, right, they first visit this private hospitals or clinics. So this is the first point of interaction in our country. So they have to work together. We have to rope private sector together. We have to keep their target or their mission, because private sector, they work for profit, and there is no harm in it, but there should be some incentive for them as well. Then they will take active part in it, and we need this biomedical method, as well as I would say socio-behavioral method is very important for our country, because our case is a bit unique, this spitting thing and other things. So it is very important that we work on socio-behavioral aspect as well, and only then we would be able to eliminate this disease. And most of the countries that have achieved some better result in this fight against TB. They have this universal health care. In our country, still we are lacking these things. So 2025 is something that looks bit very tough. I'm not saying, I'm not being pessimistic here, but this latent TB now, and there are other behavioral changes that we need. So of course, let's give it a go. Let's try. Let's push ourselves as much as we can, and then we can talk at 2025 that what are the things that we need to do, or whether we have achieved this thing or not. Moving on to another article. This is this spy one. Remember, this picture was provided to you a couple of days ago, and it is basically about this person that you can see on your screen. He was a Russian spy, and then he became a double agent. Double agent basically means that he was officially working for Russia, but he was supplying proper or right information to UK's MI6, or this UK's spy agency. And he was detected, and he was jailed for 13 years, and after that a settlement was done, and he was brought in UK, because of course he was from Russia, but he helped UK for very long period of time. So he was brought in UK. He was living in UK, and he and his daughter, they were found unconscious in a park, and a policeman who approached this unconscious people at that point of time, the policeman as well was affected with this thing. So it was quite clear that some foul game was played by someone in this thing, and now it is said by the British government that it is means Russia is the hand behind this attack, and it is considered as an outrageous act flouting all international norms. As per international norms, you cannot do this sort of activities in someone else's country, right? There are conventions against this thing, there are protections against this thing, and if you do this thing, then a country can take necessary steps, right? It can stop bilateral trade with you, it can apply sanctions and other things on you. And this is something, this sort of incidents, you don't find this sort of things taking place nowadays. Even Ministry of External Affairs, right? Earlier on, we used to have this spy branches. I'm not saying that we won't be having this spy branches and things like that. Yes, of course, covertly, yes, there will be something going on. Every country is doing this thing. This is how it works. But earlier on, we used to have this dedicated benches, right? Dedicated branches or desks that are just looking after intelligence gathering in these different embassies and houses, or you can say high commissions and other offices. But nowadays, you have this business desk. It is more about economy. It is more about how we can work with each other and trade and other things. Trade basically is the main job or main desk at present, right? As far as this dedicated desks are concerned, trade is a very important desk. The spy one are out of date now, but then as well you find these countries like MI6 is quite famous. Then this at present, I don't know the exact name, but earlier on it was known as KGB, this Russian spy. Then you have CIA. Many films you find this James Bond and other films on CIA as well. You find many other films. So this is always a very interesting. Then you have this Mossad, right? Israel's Mossad, which is very aggressive. Many documentaries and many books and adventurous this spy missions and other things that you find. So yes, it looks all good when we read in a book or when we watch a movie, but when it actually takes place, then it destroys relationship between two countries. And here something similar has gone or has happened here. Earlier as well in 2006, similar sort of attack took place in London, and at present Britain or England, they have taken a very strong stand. They have said to Russia to clarify whether they are behind this attack, and if not, then how this this nerve agent that is produced only in Russia, right? It is produced by Russia, it was produced by a Russian scientist. How someone got this thing in their hand, and how they have used this thing. Have they lost control over this nerve agent? These are some of the things that has been asked by Britain to Russia. They have asked them to clarify their stand. So this could be it could be either Russia or it could be either someone else. We don't know yet. if you go through statements from different countries, then yes, they are pointing their fingers towards Russia. And May government, this Theresa May government, has responded by expelling 23 Russian diplomats. They have freezed government assets as well. They have said that all these things are potentially harmful for Britons or people living in Britain. This particular incident has also been a tough test for Britain as far as its relationship with allies is concerned because of this Brexit. But luckily for Britain and for the world, these major powers, you find this USA, you find France, Germany, right? Even the opposition party in Britain, they have supported the stand of the government of Britain, and this NATO forces and this European Union and then USA and other parties, they have supported Britain's stand. They believe as well, or they are saying openly, that it is Russia that is behind this dirty game. But for the sake of you can say clarity, as well as nowadays, there are many rogue actors and they will do this sort of things to disturb the peace in the world. So it is very important that rather we should wait, the world should wait, Britain should wait for a thorough investigation. Only after that they should take some important stand, because it would be too hasty. But I believe if they have took a tough stand, then there should be something substantial. MI6 should have provided something very substantial proving that it is Russia. But now it is for the Russia, the ball is in Russian court. Now they have to prove whether they are right or wrong. Role of Russia in USA, a very big article, but I will give you a small gist. Basically, since Mr. Trump came into power or in White House for 1 year or more than 1 year, we find this story going on that USA or this Mr. Trump was supported by Russia, or Russia has always funded money and things like that. Then Rex Tillerson, we were talking about this Rexit couple of days ago, maybe yesterday or day before yesterday, I can't remember, but I told you about this thing that he was when he was selected as Secretary of State at that point of time. It was one of his skill or his strength was considered that he has a very good ties with Russian politicians, and this will help these two major powers, or you can say nuclear powers, that are arch enemies of each other. This close relationship of a minister, right, Minister of Foreign Affairs, say for example, Secretary of State basically is a counterpart of Sushma Swaraj. I hope this is clear to you guys. So if your minister is having good relationship with Russian politicians, right, then there are high chances that this will lead us to a peace, right? It will create peace between these two countries. I may also say neighboring countries, because you have this Bering Strait that is separating this Alaskan portion of USA and Russia. So for a very long period of time now, I'm sure regular listeners, about Cold Wars and other things. So this sort of media news, and there are some cases going on as well. Now you find some spies, former spies and former directors of important agencies, they are saying that yes, Russia has supported this thing. Cases are going on, and for a very long period of time this thing is going on. So still they have not proved anything. And what is happening at present, basically, in a nutshell, I can say that Trump, who is of course selected by the people of America, isn't it, citizens of America, and if Mr. Trump is selected, of course, by these citizens, then when you are saying that this thing is supported by Russia and things like that, what you are basically doing is you are curbing, or you are creating problems or hindrance when Mr. Trump is taking any action. Many times you find that, most of the time I think you find whatever he is doing is been said that he is crazy or he is taking hasty decisions and things like that. But remember one thing, this whole latest example that I have for you is this North Korean incident, right? North Korea has decided that it will come on table, and this is possible because Mr. Trump was very harsh on North Korea, or else the way North Korea was expanding its nuclear arsenal. So it's not always the case. So this sort of news and the way social media is used, these campaigns that are run on social media, and then you have this, it will create this it will, nowadays you have these technologies, and there are people who know how things work, so they can spread this propaganda, and they can make something that is mythical or fake into something, or they will create a situation in which we believe that something that is been catered to us is the truth, the ultimate truth, and this sort of things undermine democracy of any country. This is happening with USA in future. This may happen with us as well. You never know. Now, moving on to important news items, you have this one. It is about this TDP stepping out. Telugu Desam Party has stepped out from this National Democratic Alliance, and then you have this picture that I saw in the Hindu newspaper. It is about this elections that is going to take place, 59 members for Rajya Sabha. So it will change this whole number game in Rajya Sabha, very important for the government as well as opposition party. So here are the numbers, you can go through it. Now there is a case going on at present, and basically it is about this Ram Setu or Adams Bridge. Now here you see this proposed Sethus Samudram ship canal, because what happens is normally you have to travel all the way across here. So this is a shortcut. So for here you have to cross this Ram Setu or Adams Bridge, and back in 2013 UPA government told the Supreme Court that this will give some advantage. Subramaniam Swamy said this will means, what about this Adams Bridge, will it affect the project or not? And at present government says cutting a route through Ram Setu could cause socio-economic disadvantage, because this Ram Setu, the name comes from this Ramayana story or this Ramayana epic. Whether this was right or wrong, whether this is something that is true or false is totally depends, right? We don't have this sort of evidence, scientific evidence, but sentiment of many people are associated with this thing. So this is a red flag that has been shown by the government to the Supreme Court. Now let's see. Moving on, we know this Science Congress, Indian Science Congress. It is a very prestigious congress, and many times it is in controversy as well. Back in 2014 it was in controversy, and now a statement is coming from Union Science Minister. Now I'm not saying Mr. Harshvardhan is a very scientific man. I have been following him for a very long period of time, and I know most of the statements, right, most of them coming from his mouth are more scientific. I cannot say that he's talking myth and other things, but here he has said that Stephen Hawking used to say, or he has said at a point of time, that Vedas had a theory superior to that of Albert Einstein's famous equation E is equal to mc squared. Now I'm not sure whether, means, as it is coming from Union Science Minister, so I believe yes, Stephen Hawking might have said, but this may create a controversy. It depends. Let's wait and watch. Then you have this Manipur, very famous for sports talent, and particularly woman power of Manipur is definitely an inspiration for the whole country. And Prime Minister has said that the government of India is highly inspired by this Manipur and its sports talent. He has inaugurated the founding stone, basically has laid the founding stone, not inaugurated, this National Sports University, the first in our country. And he also talked about this Rani Gaidinliu. She was a freedom fighter, revolutionary, of course. I have read about her, and this in this period of 1931, 1931, she fought against British. So remember, this is a very important topic. It is in current affairs, so you can expect one MCQ on this thing. Now, this is about Vijay Mallya case. But the court has said that banks have definitely helped him. They have floated these rules so that Mallya can get money from the bank. Is going on. The case is going on in England. Then Loya case, Maharashtra says that it warns Supreme Court basically that this may create or this may impact. This Loya case probe will hurt judiciary and its independence. Death for raping girls under 12 in Arunachal. Now many states, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Haryana, and now Arunachal Pradesh, they have decided to go ahead with this death penalty. I think we will find articles on this thing as well. If not, then I will try to produce a special video lecture on this item. Now, Trump, one more thing, good article, right to education, a special video lecture. I am going to bring it out today. It will be in Hindi. I will update you guys regarding English lecture. Of course, I am going to deliver English lecture for you guys, right? Rest assured. But I don't know the time whether I will get a slot today or maybe tomorrow. But I will update you on my Facebook page about the English version. Now, Trump decided to sack McMaster. McMaster is National Security Advisor. Pakistan has failed to act against terrorists. Zuma, ex-South African president, will be prosecuted. And then you have this news from GST, and Hyundai is going to make 1 million cars in India. An advert that I have found, it is about IPDS, Integrated Power Development Scheme. Help yourself with it, right? Important points are here. And then you have this Urja app as well. These are your answers. And I have one MCQ type question and one a mains question. Today is Saturday, so you can practice this one, and you can, once you are ready with it, when you think about it, when you're ready to write this answer, make sure you are writing it in 200 to max 200 to 120 words. So very crisp and precise answer, and stick it in the comment section, right? Thank you very much for listening. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you all soon, dear friends. Jai Hind.